Hannah. Welcome to the Big Ideas Welcome podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you are one of the incredible nonprofit leaders that has gone through the 100Knoxville program. Tell me about your mission and why you do what you do.
So Next Shelter came about because of its personal experiences with DV, and I just wanted someone to be who I needed in the time that I needed those services, or just a friend.
Yeah.
So our mission at Next Shelter is to move to a society where we hold zero tolerance for abuse, and that we help victims and survivors retain their voice and keep their voice.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Very powerful. As a young girl, did you see yourself advocating like this? How did you move into this?
No, as a kid, I always wanted to be a DA.
Really?
And then I realized how much schooling was involved in being a law student, and I was like, I don't think so.
Maybe not for me.
And then I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
So kind of, sort of a nurturer still.
All very advocacy roles.
But organic chemistry just knocked me out the box. So I ended up doing social work, and then my program went to fully in person.
Okay.
So I couldn't do that because I have 3 small kids. I have a family.
Yeah.
And my advisor was like, why don't you just do psychology? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
He was like, you'll have the same coursework. You won't have to repeat anything. And I was like, but I don't want to be a psychologist. He was like, you don't have to listen to other people's problems.
Right.
You can do community relations. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then my degree is in psychology now.
Wow. That's really awesome. I love how you had a voice that was speaking to you to help you understand the breadth of the study. Because I think a lot of times we think, sit on a couch, lay back, tell me your problems. But it's much broader than that. So you're out in the community.
Yeah.
Tell me the meaning behind Next Shelter. What is that?
So Next Shelter is a tribute to my mom, who passed away due to a domestic violence situation. Okay. Her name is Nanette, and friends and family call her Net.
Okay.
So she has 3 kids, and we were all her baby birds. So a nest just sounded right.
Yeah.
So it's like her protecting us, but shelter doesn't mean, in my case, it does not mean housing anyone. Right. It just means a safe space.
Okay. Wow. So it really grew from your personal, the story that is very close to you because it was in your family.
Right.
Which I'm imagining gives you a lot of motivation, but also can be hard maybe to separate, helping people through trauma can often trigger your own. How do you kind of set those boundaries to keep being able to help and give back, but not feeling too overwhelmed?
I'm still working on that.
Yeah. Okay. In process.
Trauma is very funny.
Yeah.
Trauma is very tricky, and sometimes you think you're over things, and then the slightest thing can trigger it again to where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's not gone.
So I do take steps back a lot of times where I don't do anything. I still help people find resources, but I won't do any teachings, or I won't come speak or tell my story or anything like that, just because I need mental capacity to be able to come back and do it.
Yeah. In those times when you step back, what are some of the habits or strategies that you've implemented or are learning to implement to take care of yourself?
I usually work on my craft and how to perfect the teachings that I do. So I look at other things or other organizations and how they are being implemented in the community. I usually give back monetarily sometimes during those times of me stepping back, or I'll share a lot of things. I usually shop a lot.
Yeah.
So my bank account really feels it when I step back.
We're on a break.
Yeah, and we need to be on a full break. But usually that's what I do. And then I try to do some classes too, to better myself in this realm of the work that I do, because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what kind of community support system have you been able to build to kind of help carry your family and yourself through times when it can be really hard and you need to step back?
My friends, they kind of know when I'm like kind of down or out. They'll be like, come, let's have a drink, let's go eat, because I'm a foodie.
Okay, good. Yes, food
I
is
love
the best
food.
therapy.
Let's do this. They try to send me little funny things, or I just try to spend as much time with my family as I can, so that it'll take me to a different place, so that I can, kind of bounce back or move myself to a better place.
Yeah, the people that surround you are really, really important.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a good framework. Tell me about your family, about your girls, and just
the
like
three divas.
Yes. Tell me all about them.
So I have a 5-year-old who's entering kindergarten. I have a 6-year-old who's entering first grade. And I have a 7-year-old who's entering second grade. I can't believe I have all these kids. Like, what was I thinking? But they really keep me grounded. I've been married for almost 10 years. Family means a lot to me. I feel like it's family over everything, honestly. Just because I feel like I got shorted a lot growing up. So I try to give my kids and myself, we try to give them a lot of experiences that we didn't get to experience as kids. I try to parent them different, but sometimes I also find myself parenting them the same way that I got parented. So it's a learning process. I let them join me when I'm doing certain things, especially when I'm teaching kids or teenagers. I let them join me so they see and they hear, and they just get to experience different walks of life and things. Right. So they'll be well-rounded also.
That's amazing. What would you say is your hope or your dream for your daughters? Like, comparatively, looking back at past generations and wanting to shift and change that story in your family so that it doesn't repeat itself, what do you envision for your girls?
That they always keep their voice, no matter who says what's right. Like, do what's in your heart and what feels right for you. Don't let anyone ever try to make you feel bad for doing you or being yourself, because you have to live with you at the end of the day. Yeah. Beautiful. So if they do that, then I'll be a proud mama.
Okay, good. I love that. Tell me about your experience in the 100Knoxville program. What was one of the main takeaways or mentality shifts that you had going through the program?
To fail.
To fail. And to be okay with it?
And to be okay with it. Everything is not going to be straightforward. Right. Sometimes you have to experience failures, and it's okay to fail, because once you fail, you know what you did wrong. You know how to reconvene whatever the idea was, or your mission, or how you went about something, to be able to ask for help the next go around. Don't try to do everything yourself and be a super person, because that's exhausting.
It's tiring. And it sounds like you maybe have a little experience trying to do that, and now you're not doing that anymore. Okay, good.
That was my biggest thing. And to hear success stories from people who started out so small, like we're starting out, and for them to drop real gems on us, like, get somebody to help you. Ask for help. That doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. But why reinvent the wheel when it's already been invented? Right. Just let it roll.
Right. Oh, such good words. I'm taking that to heart right now. Tell me about, like, your current focus in your work. Are you targeting kind of a wide demographic, or like, who are you working with, and what are you seeing out in the world?
So when I first started, I wanted to be another advocacy for adults. It's particularly BIPOC women. That took a lot. I feel like that there is so many resources out there for adults, known and unknown, that we forget about the step under the adults, the babies, the kids, the teens who are experiencing these things at home, who are experiencing these things in their relationships. So I had to really take a step back and look at this forgotten, like, demographic and this specific age group. And honestly, that's where my niche is now. I find more success, like me being able to reach more of the teenagers. So I have had the pleasure with working with Emerald Youth. I have had the pleasure of working with Knox County Health Department, just targeting those age range. And I think that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to shift my mission a little bit to teen dating violence awareness. So one of the big things that I'm working on right now is trying to flush out a campaign in February for teen dating violence awareness.
Okay. All right. We'll be looking out for that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. What is something you would ask of the Knoxville community in, like, how can we support you? What's something that you need?
Be open to having conversations about domestic violence on both scales. It's not a you problem, it's a us problem, because people in our community are suffering from this in silence, and they don't know how to, or they don't feel comfortable. Or just get yourself acquainted with the language that they use or the signs on how to spot someone who is in a situation where they may need external help, and learn what resources are out there. Book me for teaching. To come talk to you guys about it, just for the basics of DV.
Okay.